Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Action Sci-Fi and Fantasy Creators Lounge. I am your host, Barry Gaines, the writer and director and editor and fight choreographer of the hit series A World of Worlds that you can see on Amazon Prime, Google Play, BingeHorror.com, and SoFi.tv. Today, I have my man who has done probably every possible role you can think of. Been in this game for a long time, but does shine when it comes to action. So that's why he's on here. And also, he plays a bearded brute that everyone loves. In my series, 10 and 5 is his name in the series of A World of Worlds. So let's all put our hands together for my man, Zachary Vasquez. Zach, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, doing good. Everything's great.
Good. I know people have seen you everywhere, is how you started. I mean, you're everywhere. Like, how did you even start?
Well, basically, I've been modeling for about 20 years.
Wow.
And then, you get used to being on different sets, but basically just on your look. And, whether it be commercial or photo shoots, every now and then you get a film shoot. But obviously, modeling is an entryway to the acting world. They call it MTA, model turned actor. So even though you don't have any actual acting training, you're used to being around a lot of sets. You're used to being around, productions. And basically with that, doing the modeling thing, I just got bored of just being the model thing. So, you got to take things to the next level. You got to, broaden your horizons. And that's why I got into acting, basically, because I was getting booked for little things here and there just because I looked a certain way. And my mentality was, well, if I'm getting booked just on my look, what about if I actually try to have some kind of acting ability with it? So I'm very that I was able to raise the bar in my abilities with that.
Oh, nice, man. So what was like? Okay, so you figure like you've been modeling. You say you modeled first, right? And then you went to acting. So let's go back a little further. What was the first modeling gig that you got? Like, how old were you?
I remember it was well, basically, like, I scouted out. I was in Ybor City, which is the big historic area in Tampa. They do this annual festival called Guavaween, which is basically like the Mardi Gras of Tampa Bay. Big Halloween party where they close the streets, everybody walks around, catch beads, the whole nine. Me and my friends were there, walking around with no shirt, having fun. Dude comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing any kind of fitness athletic modeling?" I was like, I don't know, never thought about it at all. At the time, I just worked out, because I was, 18 years old. I just liked working out just to be healthy,
Yeah.
So he took my picture. I had at the time. I didn't think anything of it. And then he called me back and said, "Hey, we'd like to do a test shoot with you." And one thing led to another. And then that's how I got into the fitness world, swimwear stuff. So it was pretty cool. Like, if I hadn't have gone to that actual event and had somebody just catch me out of just sheer luck, I never would even thought about getting in front of a camera and doing anything.
Bro, that's like one of those stories you rarely hear. That every actor wants to have, the experience of just walking around and somebody just roll up and say, "Hey, listen, you should be an actor. Hey, you should be a model. Hey, you got the look." And you had that. I mean, so you started with like a dream entry, pretty much. So whoa. So think about that. Okay, so you did it for years. I mean, modeling. You've been modeling for a long time. And then you said you turned acting. You want to get into acting. What year did you start acting?
I want to say my first acting class I took, I want to say about 6 years ago.
Okay.
So I've taken a couple little commercial workshops just because my modeling agency has suggested it, just to be used to being on camera and stuff like that. But it was never an in-depth like scene study type training like I've been doing ever since. So basically, it's ironic because I have been SAG eligible long before I even started taking acting classes, just from knowing the right people and getting my SAG vouchers, which is pretty ironic. That was back in 2006.
Wow.
When I got my SAG, just from looking a certain way and being able to be in a certain production. They said, hey, if you fly to LA and work on this production, I'll get you your SAG vouchers. At the time, I was like, I don't even know what SAG is. So I asked
right, you're just working.
Yeah. There's people that work in LA for 2 years that can't even get SAG eligibility. They're like, you're crazy if you don't go out there and do that. So I was like, all right. So I went out there and I did. I was like, if I ever want to become an actor, I've got this connection that I can always say, hey, when I want to join SAG, I've already got there. So I feel like I was really blessed to be put in front of the right people to have that opportunity.
Wow. No, you were, man. I mean, you've been in so much. How can you not be in SAG? I mean, you've been in the game for so long, of course, I could definitely see that. What was your first acting gig? Like, what was your first, like, the first time you were from a camera and someone's like, okay, Zach, and action?
My first acting job that I got booked as a speaking role on like a real for actual audition.
Speaking, you going for it. Yeah.
It was a short, and I got booked as a pirate, which is kind of funny. Huh. Now I've got to speak with an accent and all this. And, I was like, well, I grew up playing pirates, playing all these fun little things in the yard with my friends. I was like, I got this. So I just, did the lines, did my little pirate accent. It helped, too, that my stepfather was from England. So listening to him, all these years now, gave me a little bit of an advantage as far as understanding and being acquainted with the accent, even though I never actually taken any language courses or anything like that. But it helped a lot. Like, able to get the role. And to me, it was a fun role. Because, who doesn't want to be a pirate, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, if the first role is a pirate, man, I mean, people love to have, how a lot of actors start off with like a giant burger or something, in the corner somewhere, it's kind of like, so you started with the cool kids. I like that.
Yeah, I was like, pirate, right, we're onto something,
Hell yeah, man. But like so you figure, so you said, you started, when you started acting, you went to a class, stuff like that to kind of get used to being around the people, getting around actors and stuff. All that time and, going through the experience, did you kind of grow into some kind of prep, like your own prep of some sort, maybe, before every scene, or does it depend? Like, how does it work for you?
Absolutely. Basically, with any character, you've got to study. You've got to think about their backstory, think about what they're doing, what their conflict is, and then you've got to apply that to your own personal life. So basically, if this character's going through this, even though I've never been a pirate on a pirate ship chasing a treasure, I have to think of
You haven't? Oh, come on, man. We'll have that. No.
Not that cool. Not yet, anyway. But yeah, you got to basically put whatever their goal is, and you have to tie it into something that's personal to you. Mm-hmm. And then take, those emotions and you carry them, you project them into whatever the scene is.
Okay. And then you figure too, if you're doing the pirates, since we're talking about pirates, I'm quite sure there was some swashbuckling going down, you know what I mean? Some sword play, on people and, doing all that. How do you prepare for like a fight role, like a fighting scene, action scene? Because I know you have plenty of those. Do you have a thing for that?
Absolutely. We've spent, you get with the choreographer and you really want to get every move down to the point where you don't really have to think about it. Because if you have to start thinking about it while you're in the fight scene, the face never lies. So they can see this person's kind of lost or, they didn't look too good. So it's all about practice. It's like a dance rehearsal. You just keep doing it so you don't have to think about it. And then everything goes fluidly. But there's definitely a lot of preparation for it to be safe, for it to look good. And yeah, for it to be something people are going to say, wow, people be impressed with, because, fight scene is complicated. It's a lot of work, for whatever the short time is that you see on camera and the finished product. But yeah. I like it because, I feel like, I grew up a big professional wrestling fan. That's why I started working out anyway. I wanted to be like my heroes. So that's what got me in the gym day one. So I feel like it all came full circle, to be able to do fight scenes as an actor.
Yeah. Now, what about like diets? Like if you get a role, say a dramatic role, then you're a gangster or whatever, you're a chef or something, a crazy chef or something, as opposed to someone saying, okay, now you're going to be this guy that's going to be running around and you're gonna be jumping through cars or something like that. Does your physicality, like your dieting or whatever, does it change from movie to movie, or do you kind of keep something consistently so no matter what you're always ready? Is it something like that?
Yeah, well, the look I go for is I really don't go for the weight and the size type thing. I basically try to maintain my athletic look. So if I have to be an athletic fit guy, you go shirtless, you go in a tank top, and then all of a sudden people can see your physique. Whereas if you're in a business suit, you can just put it on, and you're not some big bulky guy that's going to look like a gorilla in a suit. Right. So it's like you're constantly walking the tightrope versus, am I too muscular, or can I get away with wearing a suit and being like some accountant somewhere,
Right. You don't want to stand out. So you pretty much just kind of always just stay at a I guess a middle range somewhere. So no matter where you go into, you're ready to go. Pretty much.
And right? I say that a tan makes a big difference as far as if you really want to make your physique pop out on camera, then you hit that tanning bed or the spray tan, and you look more muscular just with the tan. So people would be amazed how much of a difference that makes.
Oh yeah, I can see that too. Like when you actually see a professional bodybuilding competition, you see them all have that kind of bronze look purposely. Yeah, it's true. I think some people don't even think about it. And now, of course, the actor's not going to be as bronze as those guys, but yeah, you put a little on there so it'll pop. Interesting. Very interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the lighting on set and all that stuff, all that makes a difference. So.
No, it does, man. It does. Now being that, you have so many roles when it comes to action anyway, too. Do you have something that you just never forget? I mean, I'm quite sure, like all of us who have been in action films or sci-fi films or something, like something happens. Do you have a memorable moment, of like, you did something like, man, wow, I never forget this day.
I'll never forget. We did, it was a student film down in Miami, and we had a sword fight. So that was interesting because, this is interesting because we got real swords. I mean,
I'm about to ask if they were real swords or not. Whoa.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I've never done any professional sword fighting. I mean, I've done fight choreography, and the guy that I was fighting, he's a professional wrestler. So he's acquainted with doing choreography too. But when you got a real sword in your hand, it's a whole different ball game. I mean, really? I hadn't done I was a little kid pretending out in the yard, playing with sticks. But I was like, okay, so luckily I had a sword master there, so he walked us through a lot of it. But at the end of the day, you got a real sword in your hand, and even though the end's taped, it's still a piece of metal. It's still sharp on the end. Right. We had a couple. My knuckles got bloody from hitting the handle of the sword, and I accidentally poked my opponent in the hand, so he had a little shish kebab.
Oh, he's okay.
And we just kept going, but it's like, damn, I don't know what's makeup or what's real blood at this point.
Right, everything's just meshed together. Yeah, exactly. That's interesting. That's crazy.
We were down in Biscayne doing the scene in Miami, and it was parked right in front of the Hard Rock in Miami, the Hard Rock Cafe. So all these people are out on the patio eating their dinner, and we're just going to town on this boat.
That's hilarious. It's like people sitting there eating salad, getting a burger, and they see some guys just going at it with swords, with taped swords and shit.
Blood on my face.
Blood on your face or what? Exactly. Just so you don't know what's real blood. That's funny. That's funny.
It was like
that's so great about it.
And the thing is, it was mostly the whole sword fight was done in maybe 2.5 minutes long. We only stopped once, maybe twice during the whole sequence. So it was kind of wild. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, in all the productions you've been on, I mean, who have you worked with? I know you've been in some big sets. Who have you, who you enjoyed working with, like a name or somebody?
Yes. I mean, as far as famous people, big names, I've gotten to see, Dwayne Johnson. He's a big muscular action dude, and he's very inspiring because he's there maintaining his physique in between sets. I mean, the guy is, hitting the bands, doing the push-ups at the same time, going over his lines. And I'm like, damn, that's what you call focus, That's like, yeah, intense. So it's really cool seeing, you know, big names, big action guys. They're not just there, you know, doing the physical stuff. They're there running lines, doing scenes, bringing the emotion as well. And I think that's a tough part about being like a physique / actor. You know, you got to keep that action stuff going, but then at the same time, you're the actor. You know, you're basically a stunt actor, so you're doing both. So it's really cool when a stunt actor type guy has like a main role, not just, you know, the guy getting shot off a building or something.
No, that's right. That's right. And I'm quite sure that if you have to do some type of physical scene, and at the same time you have a line, do you find it hard sometimes to kind of keep the enunciation up? You know, because you know you're sweating, you're tired. God knows how many times you're doing the scene, and you still have to be clear in your words. You know, while you're breathing hard and moving. Do you find it as a challenge to do that?
Yeah, you've got to be aware of, am I going to slam this guy or am I going to say my line? Because if I do both at the same time, fine, nobody's going to understand what you said. Or a lot of times the emotion will carry you away, and then you start adding 10 other lines that you're like, oh crap, I was so in the moment that I guess now this one line to 8, you know?
Jeez.
So.
Yeah, I know what. I know it has to be. I know it has to be hard at times. I know when you work with us, when you did our scene and everything, I try not to have you talk too much. Just worry about just going at it. You know what I mean? Because I know it can sometimes be a little tricky to kind of enunciate your words where you're getting slammed or, you know, you're flipping in the grass or something. So yeah, definitely. No, definitely. I mean, I can see that. So I tried. You know what I'm saying? And the people that you work with so far, like, you know, what is something that, if someone has never been and say on a bigger set, you know, what is an etiquette that you would say, hey, listen, this is the difference between like a larger set, maybe a Hollywood set as opposed to an indie set, or do you see any differences at all? You know, 'cause I know people would want to know, like, hey, listen, you know, I'm an indie, even the indie filmmaker, you know, like myself or anybody else who's never been on like, you know, $100 million set or $80 million set, and know things are just they're different. Do you find much difference on how things work and pace, or how can you compare, being that you have that experience of being on both sides of the scale?
I mean, personally, I don't think you should approach any different, because I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how big the job is or how small the job is, you're still on camera and it's still your work, you know? So if you do something that's bad work, or, you know, you're lazy with it, or you don't take it seriously, that's on film. That's going to last forever. And people are going to judge your abilities based on every little role you do. And I think that's the challenging part about film and TV, as opposed to like stage, you know, theater. You can have a bad night and be back tomorrow. Good, you know, we'll do better tomorrow. But if you're on camera, I mean, you better make sure you're bringing your A game, because that's going to be there forever.
Right. You got one shot. You got that one shot.
I mean, yeah, you get more takes, but at the end of the day, when that's in the can, like, that's you, brother. And it's either going to make or break you. And, you know, people say, oh, you're lucky or this or that. It's like, not really, because, I mean, success is about, you know, the opportunity meeting the preparation. So if you're preparing for everything, when the opportunity comes, you're going to look good. You're going to do a good job. And then that opens doors, because people say it's all about who you know, too. Well, I mean, yeah, but people are going to remember you, and you're going to know more people if you do a good performance, because that gets around. And then one leads to the next, or leads to the next. So if you start underestimating jobs, you know, then it's going to affect you in a negative way as well. It works both ways. It can either help you or it can hurt you. So me personally, I try to prepare for everything I'm doing 100%. If I'm not going to prepare the right way, then I won't take the job, because I don't want bad footage. I don't want a bad performance floating around, and then it'll hinder me as opposed to help me.
No, that's a really good advice. They're very true. I think some people feel that, you know, depending upon the size of the set, kind of, you know, it manipulates the way they approach it, and they shouldn't. Like you said, it shouldn't really. You should approach them all the same. I think that's a great advice. Yeah, I really understand. It's great because, you know, my set's small and you come on the set ready as anything else, you know, as if you're on anything else. And so I appreciate that as well. Just have worked with you. And
absolutely. Because at the end of the day, the whole crew, the actors, the crew, everybody's working together to tell a story. So we all got to depend on each other. And if you're going to be part of the team, bring your A game, because we're all depending on each other. If I don't know my lines, we've all committed to being there that day, spending that amount of time on set, all the preparation. You know, I'm counting on you guys are counting on me, we're all counting on each other to put forth the best performance, to create the story and make it all become a reality. And that's the best part about, you know, any production. Is this is my favorite part about acting in general, is the whole storytelling process and creating everything from its conception to the final product you see.
No, that's right. No, I agree, brother. I agree big time. And, you know, and being that you have so, you know, you've been in so many, like I've always been saying, like, you know, you've been in these productions and you have really great work ethic. I'm quite sure before you say yes to anything, what is one of the qualities that you look for in any set before you even say, okay, I'm going to put my all into, or I'm just going to accept it, period? Is there something there, a characteristic that you said, they got to have this in order for me to step on that set?
A lot of times it's basically what the character is about, what the production is, because I like to have as much variety as possible, you know, for my reel and for my resume. So this stuff, I mean, if I could pick, I like doing the character thing with the makeup, with the hair, you know, with the cool costumes. As soon as you put that on, it's like, boom, now we're doing something different. I'm not playing the next door neighbor. I'm not playing the cab driver. You know, I'm like, we're doing stuff completely different. And that's my favorite thing about The World of Worlds, is it's like, here we go, you know, we're no longer on planet Earth, you know, we're doing all stuff, you know. And that was the thing with The Pirate too. It was really cool, you know, because it's like anytime I can do something like that that's like way over here, that there's no way this would be real life, those are my favorite types of roles. So really neat. It's a lot of fun. It's cool to be able to create something where, for example, if they'll tell you, hey, this is the story is, and this is where we're going with it. And if, like, the more like fantasy and like make believe it can be, the more it interests. I'm like, wow, this is like, it's hard at first to try to really understand and see the vision, but then, you know, as you're involved with the production more, you're like, wow, this is different. This is unique. This is something that's very creative, and I can respect that because I'm a creative guy. And, you know, nobody wants to do the same 20 roles, you know, same day, same in and out, becomes routine. I mean, that's not, to me, what acting is. Acting is having as many different characters, as much versatility as possible, so you can showcase yourself and so you can challenge yourself.
Now, was that something that you learned is that just an interest that was just always with you, or did someone, you know, advise you to do that?
I've always looked at it as like a personal challenge for myself, because, you know, you look at these great character actors out there, they'll be all kinds of different personalities, all kinds of, I mean, they'll even talk differently. And that to me is like, that shows a wide range. And I think if you're the better actor you are, the more different personalities, the more different roles you can cover. So it's really cool when somebody offers me like something that I've never done before. It's like, wow, somebody actually saw my potential to do this type of character. And I think that's wow, you know, because I've had some roles where it's really challenging. I'm like, how the hell did I get picked to be this? But I'm like, I'm going to give it my best shot, because I know if I can do good at this, then it's going to make me look like a more versatile actor. And it's going to challenge me as well. And I'm all about challenging myself. And, you know, I'm all about building my reputation, because at the end of the day, the stronger your reputation is, the more opportunities you're going to have.
That's right. Because you know what? People have to understand that this industry is small. It may look big, but it doesn't take too much for the word to get out about anybody. Mm-hmm. And so you got to be very careful about how you do things and what you do and who you work with. So I know that you look at that before anything as well. So hell yeah, you know, and it matters, because if you come in every time, you're the same guy in every set, man. I mean, that's a dream actor. I mean, it's one of the reasons why, like, even when I met you and just saw like just your habits and where you've been and what you've done, I knew you were so consistent. And I think everyone in the crew really, really appreciates that. What if someone wants to get out there? Someone wants to try this whole game out. What do you feel is a do? We're gonna do some do's and don'ts. So let's start with the do. Like, listen, man, you have to do this if you want to even get into the game. What's your advice?
I would say first and foremost, the most important thing is to train. Find yourself a good, reliable acting coach or studio and get in there. And, you know, it's like going to the gym. Nobody can be Mr. Olympia if you don't step foot in the gym. And it doesn't matter how long you've been working out. you got to continue doing it. It's the same thing with acting. You know, if you book a couple roles here and there, great, but you always got to train because there's always room for improvement. You know, you can be freaking 5-time Super Bowl winner. That guy still has to go to practice every season. He's no different than the rookie. And that's, I think that's people great at anything they do.
So when you say train, it's like just kind of strengthen their acting skills by going to classes, or physical, or just both?
Actually, well, both. I mean, depends, you know, I mean, the athletic aspect, you know, is kind of role specific, but the main thing is getting in the classroom and sharpening the acting skills. That helps your memorization, and it gives you good constructive criticism, and it gets you used to being in a scene because, you know, you're acting, you're doing scene study with other actors. So it gets you acquainted to being on a set, gets you comfortable to being in a scene, and it helps your memorization skills and just the acting business in general. I think acting classes are great because everybody there, you know, they all help each other, and everybody is there supportive of each other. And, you know, whether you're doing bad or you're doing well, you're going to hear it. And I think that's the most important thing. It's like, you know, just all about applying your skill sets and building together as a community.
No, I hear that's good. That's good. What's something that someone shouldn't do? They get into the game, you know, they come at their house, they're like, listen, I'm ready to do this, man. Let's do it. And you'd be like, whoa, hold up. If you do this, don't do this. What would that be?
Well, I would say don't underestimate any role. You know, if you're going to take on a role, make sure you do your best. Don't underestimate any production, because you may be working with the next Martin Scorsese for all you know, and that guy could go on and have a huge career, and he's going to remember if you screwed up or didn't take it seriously. So I think that's very
right. Just be ready, man. Just be ready. Yeah, just be ready, man. Hell yeah. Zach, man, yo, thank you so much, man, for being on the Action Sci-Fi Fantasy Creators Lounge. Thank you for having patience with me. I'm new to this, everyone. I'm new to this, doing the whole interviewing thing, and people like Zach just makes it easier for me. You know what I mean? So I thank you for that so much. And Zach just went off for a moment. You know, this is Zoom. It happens. Oh, he's back. Yeah. My man. See, he does everything. See, he goes out, come back. You can't slow a good man down. Tell him. So, but yeah, man. So thanks again, man, for being on the show. And I know that we're all looking out for you again. You know, after this crisis is over, and we get away from the lockdown and everything starts to open up more, I know we're going to see you in the theater again. I have all, you know, the confidence that theaters are going to come back, and I know we're going to see you there. And also look for Zach in the World of Worlds Season 2 as well. Things get a little dicey with that. His character goes to another level, so look out for that as well.
Thanks so much.
Hey, thank you, Zach. All right, buddy. Peace.